Love it. Okay, wonderful. All right, so this is really fun. This is like instructional video number 1.
Yeah.
And we have a really special, amazing guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Holly. My name's Quentin. I'm just here because I wanna share some helpful tips and tricks about learning handstands. I've kind of been on my own handstand journey for the past 2 years or so, and just wanted to share some things to make it a little easier along the way.
Heck yeah. All right. Didn't you say your handstand journey was spurred by an accident?
Yeah.
Like you were trying to get stronger?
Yeah, totally. So I fell off a bike maybe 6 years ago and broke my wrist really badly, and I had surgery. And I couldn't do push-ups or dips or handstands were way far away. And so over time I progressively built up the strength, and I had this big dream of doing handstands. And I just kept working at it, and finally, my wrist now is stronger than it's ever been in my life, and super capable. So it's just amazing, the resilience we can have if we just put in the consistent effort over time. We can really just accomplish whatever we want, essentially.
All right, take us through it.
Yeah. So obviously, handstands are putting an insane amount of pressure on our wrists. And we want to be careful to prevent injury and just not push it too hard. So we're going to start off by warming up, and I recommend to everyone to warm up before you start doing any handstands. We really want to get our blood flowing and do specific exercises to make our wrists more mobile. So we're going to get down on the ground here, just sort of in tabletop position, and we're just going to put our wrists on the ground, put our hands on the ground facing forward, and lean forward on your wrists until you feel a stretch. And we want to hold it there for maybe 30 seconds or so. And we can walk our wrists around, front to back, and really pushing in each direction. Another thing we can do are these finger palm push-ups. With leaning on our wrists, we can lift up with the base of our palms. And we can do maybe 10 or 20 of these. Really get that blood flowing to the wrist, get everything lubricated and mobile. We also want to warm up the back of our wrists.
That one hurts sometimes.
Yeah.
Or can be a lot of pressure, right?
Yeah. And I want to say that, like, if you feel any pain during any of these exercises, that's something to be mindful of, and really don't. If you feel pain doing any of these, or you're feeling pain in push-ups, you might want to maybe spend some more time training your wrist before you jump straight into handstands.
Nice. Good.
So just like continuing with our warm-up, we can do any sort of yoga poses. I like to go into downward dog, or really stretch out my hamstrings as well. And really, we just want to be doing anything to get the blood flowing. So you could take a little jog, do some high knees, jumping jacks, whatever you want, just to get that blood flowing.
Right on. Right on.
Cool. So now that we've warmed up, we want to go over the first exercise, which is going to be kicking up against a wall. And so the wall is super helpful when we're learning, also just to kind of progress along the way. After we've already learned how to do a handstand away from the wall, always coming back to the wall can be really helpful just to improve technique. And so we want to start with our hands maybe about a foot away from the wall, 10 inches, 12 inches. And come kind of in this downward dog position, and we're going to kick up with one leg while we kind of jump off of our tippy toes off the other foot, kind of like that. Go ahead and kick up all the way against the wall. Might take a couple tries, and get your heels against the wall. And then we can bring one foot off the wall and slowly start to find that balance point. Maybe you can balance just for a second or two. And just try to find that fulcrum, that balance point that's just off the wall.
So a lot of people have trouble, right, going too far forward or too far backwards, but the wall seems to help you navigate where straight up is.
Totally.
Right? Because you have a little bit of time to push back against it.
Yeah, so when you first start getting upside down, it's really disorienting. It's really disorienting, like trying to figure out, you know, how straight up you are. If you have the wall, it's really easy to understand, yeah, how far to kick up until you're vertical, and to have something you can kind of play with and push back on.
Right on. Go.
And I just want to mention one more thing. When we're kicking up, so our heels are facing the wall, a lot of people kind of make this banana shape, and their back arches. And we really, something that's important to focus on is tightening the core and thinking about just stacking the hips over the shoulders and the feet over the hip, making the whole body kind of straight and hollow rather than rounded like that. So for example, you know, a lot of people go like that, and we want to straighten our body out. Okay.
Nice. All right, we're rolling.
Cool. So another exercise that's super helpful is to have your belly facing the wall instead of your back. So for this, we're gonna place our hands on the ground, maybe a meter from the wall, and we're gonna walk our toes up the wall.
We're gonna get muddy.
Perfect. And then as your toes get up to the top, walk your hands back until they're maybe a foot or a foot and a half away from the wall. And now Holly's completely vertical here, and she can start to bring, you know, 1 foot off the wall, and you can sort of play with balancing the other direction. Because if you only go, you know, kicking up to the wall with your heels, you can kind of, at least in my experience, I kind of ran into a wall, so to speak.
Okay, that is actually kind of the problem, like running into the wall, because I think a lot of people sometimes are scared of when you get into that position, where do you go? Like, how do you dismount? And
Right.
I kind of brought my feet in, but I think some people are worried about going all the way back. How would you dismount then?
Totally.
Do you have tips for that?
Yeah, so when you're learning, ideally you can kind of bring yourself back to the wall and you don't have to bail falling forward. But it can be really helpful to actually just practice bailing. So I generally swing my leg out to the side and kind of use my hips to bring my leg always out to one side. So I could demo it real quick.
Please do.
And so if I fall too far forward, I'm just going to bring my hip out like that.
That's awesome.
And it'll kind of become muscle memory. You know, if you practice bailing intentionally several times, you'll get the hang of it.
Good.
Yeah.
So this seems like the next logical spot to talk about how to spot someone if they are nervous about being up in the air.
Totally. Yeah, like if you have a partner, you can use your partner to spot you and save you from having to bail. And so the spotter should be facing the person's calves or heels as they kick up to them.
Okay.
So Holly's gonna be facing me.
So I'm facing you this way.
You're gonna be facing me this way.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And
yeah.
and you're gonna kick up to me, and I'm gonna grab your calves or your heels with my hands.
Maybe.
And so the reason that it's important to be facing the other person, like if I was off to the side and I tried to brace her like this, I might not have enough strength to actually push her back. So I want to make sure I can really like be there to spot her.
Okay, here we go. Should I do it?
Yeah, go for it. And I'm just holding her legs up, propping them in whatever direction they need to go in, and trying to find that balance point for her just at the very top. Nice.
Whoa, that was
Awesome.
cool. That felt really solid. Hell yeah.
Sweet.
It's like the extra little fun present about being in the mud.
Yeah, you gotta get down and dirty sometimes. So something that I struggled to find and research online for a while was how to actually balance with our fingertips and our palms and our shoulders when we're upside down. And it's really useful to think about it to think about our hands and our shoulders as mirror images of our feet and our hips. So when we're on our hands, we're balancing using our palms and our fingers and our shoulders. When we're on our feet, we're balancing using our toes and our heels and our hips. And so if our hips come forward or our body leans forward, we use our toes to push back. And if our body comes back this way, we use our heels to bring us center. So we can think about our toes and our heels as mirror images as our fingertips and our palms. And that's how we're going to balance in a handstand.
That's so cool. That's such a cool tip.
Demo that real quick. So Holly, if you'll kick up against the wall.
Like
actually, let's do it the other way. Kick up against the wall. Perfect. And then if you push out on your fingertips, it should slowly bring your heels away from the wall. And if you were to push in with your heels, push in with the palms.
The heels,
of your
which
hand.
are the palms.
Yes.
And the toes are the.
It should bring you back towards the wall.
So if you're leaning forward, you're on your toes like that, and if you're leaning back, you're on your heels.
Exactly.
Okay, I get that. Okay, so I'm gonna lean back on my heels of my palms, and wait. So then my feet go back more towards the wall.
Yeah.
If I'm leaning back on them, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just go ahead and demo
Yeah,
real quick.
please.
So if I'm up against the wall, I'm going to bring my heels away from the wall by pushing out on my fingertips.
Okay.
And then
Fingertips are going down.
when I'm on my palms, it'll push back the other way. So fingertips and then palms. Fingertips, palms. And it's just a really subtle
Fingertips.
weight shift.
Fingertips. Palms. That's really cool.
Yeah, because so once we kind of learn how to balance the handstand away from the wall, we can start to work up to different movements, and different presses is what they're called, to get into a handstand.
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to learn this, so I'm
Totally.
excited. Yeah.
And so that's what's really cool about a handstand is, you know, the learning doesn't just stop once you learn how to hold it straight up. You can do all sorts of different movements with your legs, such as a pike or a straddle, and you can do different presses, you know, like a pike press or a straddle press or a stalder press. There's all these different things you can do that I'm myself working up to. So I don't know if I can do this right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, show us what you got.
So we can try to. So flexible hamstrings are really useful as well with presses.
So what would you call that? That's a pike?
That would be pike press. Yeah,
Okay.
like a straight leg pike press.
And so the strength is coming from your legs having flexible hamstrings, and then your core bringing your legs up.
Yeah,
and
the
your
core.
shoulders being stable.
Exactly. The shoulders come forward, and the core, the back, and the core brings your legs up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what was the other one you said I'd never heard of before?
The straddle press.
Straddle press. Straddle's when your legs are wide.
Yeah.
Okay, and then wasn't there one more?
There was one more called a stalder press.
Yeah, what's the stalder
which is
press?
starting from a straddle. I can't do it.
It's okay. Goals.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
cool.
goals.
Yeah. There's always something to work towards.
Yeah. Essentially, it's starting when you're doing like a straddle L-sit on the ground, and then bringing your legs all the way through and up.
Oh, you're like in this position where your legs are like out in front of
exactly.
you? Like a Tadibasana, kind of?
Yeah, except your legs would be straight. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't get my legs straight either. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's
Master level.
endless amounts of movements you can practice.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Sweet. Woohoo! Thanks for teaching us that.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Okay, guys, go out, tell your friends.
Yeah.
Bring them all. We're gonna do handstands together.
Handstands.
It's gonna be amazing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it right
Handstands
now.
are the best thing
Just
ever.
get a random person off the street to come in and do handstands with you. Let's do it. Are we doing it?
We're doing it.
We're doing it. Whee! Do you have a word? Like, hasta la pasta!